Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Today is a special episode as we're joining our new member, Rusty Surehoof. Hi, Rusty.
Hey, y'all. How are y'all doing out there?
Can you give us a description so our listeners can tell what you look like?
Sure thing. Yeah, I'm an adult minotaur, he, him. I've got rust-colored hair. I tend to wear faded denim overalls. Got this mighty fine red bandana that keeps sweat from running into my brow. Kind of got looped around my horns a little bit to keep it from slipping into my eyes. You could say I'm formerly gangly. I've filled out a little with a bit of muscle. Still pretty lean, but I'm kind of like, like a juicy sweet potato covered in hair.
Like a juicy sweet potato covered in hair. I can imagine that. Do I want to? Nope. All right. Question 1 out of 15. You're a new addition to the crayon box. What color would you be and why?
Well, I can imagine that folks might assume that I would pick kind of a rusty brown, but I'm actually going to choose a carrot orange. And the reason why is that, orange carrots that you might be familiar with, you may not have known, but those are the result of generations of careful cultivation by farmers. And so just as I know that the Minotaur before you is a product of a community with roots going back for generations, or we might say for each of us that we are members that have been kind of co-created through the influences of our caregivers and our communities and our own choices. That orange carrot color helps kind of signify a little bit of the way in which I am the product of countless generations of those who've come before me.
Ah, yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Question 2. What are your strengths, Rusty?
Well, I'm a bit of a fair hand at growing things like my pa, though certainly not to the extent that he is. I know my way around a set of brewer's tools. I'm pretty good at wrestling and give a mean headbutt, as you might imagine. But certainly my biggest strength are my family and friends. Is that like they say that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together.
Wow, that's wise. Question 3 is the flip side of that. What are your weaknesses, Rusty?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I've been talking some with my mom about. She's encouraging me to set better boundaries. When I see folks in trouble, like I feel this need to see if I'm able to help them. And it's kind of like my pa says, a stranger's just a friend you ain't met yet. And so I just always feel that need to see how can I get out there and lend a hand for folks.
That's so nice of you. Aw. Question 4 is we've talked a little bit about your carrot roots. Tell me more about where did you grow up, Rusty?
Yeah, so I grew up on this little agricultural community out in the woods of Timely. There's about 40 folks there at any given time. People kind of drift in and out. But grew up with my mom, my pa. My pa was one of the farmers, had his hand in the agricultural doings of the co-op, and my ma was a brewer. And so know my way around lending a hand with her and doing all that good stuff. That's
great. Those are a lot of useful skills that you learned from people who raised you. Well, question 5 is, why do you want to join the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild, Rusty?
Yeah, so just a short while ago, co-op kind of ran into a bit of a trouble. There's this slick feller in a suit that came out from the Nicomoa Bank, said that apparently we'd all been squatting on some noble's property and that we were about to be forcibly evicted. And so there's a whole bunch of us, as there's a number of folks that are staying back at the co-op, keeping things run, that are working on different angles to try and rectify this situation. And I thought one way that I might be able to contribute is just using my strengths and gifts to try and raise a little bit of money, maybe see if we can't make sure that things are all right and proper with the local authorities and get ourselves to stay on that land. And so came to Nicomoa looking for work and heard tale about the fire-breathing kittens, both the good that they are doing out in draws, and also, it sure seems like some of the quests that those adventures go on has a pretty nice purse attached to it. So thought I might see if I could become one of them fire-breathing kittens myself.
That makes sense. Absolutely. When you adventure, sometimes you end up with just mountains of gold, and money certainly does make handshakes easier. So that makes sense, yeah. Question 6 out of 15 is, if you were given a 1-minute advertisement time spot during the annual Nicomoy fighting tournament, sort of a Super Bowl, if you will, a sports competition that the entire city will see, what would you fill that minute with?
Gosh, something I've found since coming to Nicomoy from out in Timolee is just how busy the city is and how constantly there's folks chattering and noise kind of overlaying. And so I think if I had a minute to do as I would choose, I would use that time to invite folks into some quiet reflection. Invite them to consider their body and to remind themselves that this body has served them well through all that they've thus experienced in life, or to reflect on the ones that they know and love who care about them, or to find something that they can look around in their surroundings that brings them awe or delight, and just invite them into some quiet reflection for a minute on gratitude or delight or the love of those that care about them, and just let people sit in some stillness for a bit,
I do. Yes. Yeah. Question 7, Rusty, what do you like doing in your spare time?
I'm mighty fine of a good book and a good cider to go with it. Doesn't take a whole lot for me to enjoy just a little bit of downtime.
Absolutely. Well, you like books, you like farming, you like brewing. What things in life are still a mystery to you, Rusty?
One of the things that I really am struggling yet to wrap my head around, as you mentioned earlier, certainly money is a tool in this world that kind of helps things to go around. But I just can't wrap my head around the folks that just seem to go through life figuring out ways to end their lives with the biggest pile of toys. I don't know if anyone's never told them before, but you can't take that stuff with you, and so I just really can't quite understand what drives folks to just keep grabbing in this world.
That is a mystery. Well, maybe you can ask them. You'll bump into lots of folks here as you go on adventures with the guild. All right, question 9 is, everybody's got one, but not everyone knows what it is. Rusty, what's your annoying habit?
I've been told that I can be a little bit like an overfull maple tree when the sap is running. Just quiet and silent stand there if you pass it by. But the moment that you hit that pile and let the sap start running out, just won't stop. Just keeps on going. So I find that that's something I have to kind of sit with to be aware of, that there are times where it's important, as much as I name the importance of quiet and stillness, that once I get revved up and get going, I got to remember to ramp it back down.
I can think of several guild members that will encourage you to ramp it up, and then it will be like a tornado of chaos. But that's good sometimes too. Yeah, so is silence. Question 10 is, Rusty, what is the kindest act you have ever done?
Phew. Oh, golly. Now it sounds like you're just asking me to blow smoke up my own keister. I would imagine that the kindest thing that I've ever done, if I had to pick something, I got this friend, Tess, that she's a jackalope, always seems to be kind of getting into more trouble than she can handle. Ways back, she run afoul of some as she told it to me, fey loan sharks, and owed them quite a bit. And so I ended up gifting her a dear and precious gift that my mom had given me. It was an illuminated, signed book of poetry and wisdom sayings by Julianne of Albion. She's a elven mystic and teacher of some renown, and apparently that was worth quite a bit. And so I gave it to my friend Tess to help her out. And it was a gift that had been given to me to use as I chose, but there's still just a bit of a sense of loss associated with that not being available for folks to grab and look at. So I would say that that's probably the kindest thing that I've done, is helping out Tess to that extent.
Very altruistic, for sure. And I hope Tess appreciates that.
I think Tess does.
Yeah. Question 11. Where would you like to visit, Rusty?
Coming on the heels of that last question, I do wonder if in my travels I could manage to get to Albion itself, maybe even, see if I can get, if not one of them fancy illuminated books, but get some books signed by Julianne, bring that back to share with the rest of the co-op and with my mom.
Hey, future GMs, I hope you heard that. That sounds like a great idea. All right, I'm just speaking into the future. Don't mind me.
just manifesting that which we would desire to happen.
Yeah. Question 12. Rusty, do you like pickles?
Oh gosh, I love pickles. There's all kinds of pickled delights out there they're delicious. But my particular favorite are when you can get those spicy pickles. Those are the real good ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we will find some of those for sale in a future adventure. Question 13. A penguin walks through that door right now wearing a sombrero. What does it say and why is it here?
Sombreros, those are them like festival hats. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I imagine that maybe that penguin is announcing to us the start of some festivities and would tell us, hey, y'all come on over, we're going to play some music and have a bit of a dance. And then I'd say, that sounds great to me, penguin, show us the way.
Absolutely. And then you'll go to a dance with the penguin with the sombrero. Maybe the penguin will lift the sombrero with its little flipper fin as it dances. Who knows? Yeah. Question 14, second to last question. What would you like remembered about you, Rusty?
I imagine that I'm like most people in that what I would want remembered about me was that I was a good member of my community, good friend, good family member, and that I use my time in this world to make the world a better place than I found it.
That would be great, right? Hopefully not the opposite of that.
Yeah, well, certainly we all hope that
right.
That's as future generations look back on us with that hindsight and the wisdom that comes from time, that we might be judged as having used our time well.
Well, nobody wants that. Everybody's hoping for the former. So, very last question in this interview. What is one message you would give to your fans?
Well, thank you so much for being a fan. Certainly appreciate that. And for being along for this journey. But one thing that I would encourage you is that to be mindful that there's no person that you meet in any given day that doesn't have something that they can't teach you. And sometimes that something is just a practice study in how to extend patience and grace to someone else. But everybody's got something that they can share with you if we are open to receiving whatever wisdom might be found in our exchange with that other person.
Well, you heard it here, folks. I hope that everybody feels a little bit lighter and brighter after this interview. And thank you, Rusty, for being interviewed. We will see you in an upcoming adventure.
Thanks so much. Looking forward to it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.